Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge. Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge. Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto-builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge.
All right, folks, we're live here Saturday, August 8th. We're going to do a pretty deep dive today. Remind you all about, again, code EDGE, 25% off your subscription, 3 days free. If you look at this from a year standpoint, $89.99 for an entire year is literally less than what you'll pay for 1 month of using stochastics tools that we have. And in our software, we're combining stochastics, Odd Shopper, DFS tools, overall, every tool they have. For 1 month, we're offering you everything they offer for a year. So Code Edge will get you that hookup. Give that a try. We're going to take a quick look at the graded slate here from last night. And Arizona versus Dodgers, is that the second night in a row? 34.8% return on investment. So if you used our favorable matchups, it was a 24-17 record. If you put $10 on all of those bets, that was $142.70. In the WNBA, we had a 10.8% ROI. What are the categories that seem to be giving some good positive ROI of late? Hits under was the leader there. That does show 7-day trended, shows 30-day break even. Total bases over has been, while it was 1 day positive, shows a 5% 7-day trend. Total bases under, to me, if you really want the truth, what I've learned with baseball is very binary. Hits and the total bases under are basically when you're almost always betting under 0.5, and it's pretty much the same category. Some things that we use to talk about what are our tools that are giving you the best edge at this point. At the position defense, and when we're looking at grading that towards lift, it had a crazy amount of lift towards our stats. Pace has continued to be a winner. 30 days, opponent pace, one of the most important tools to be considering, as I have pointed that out several times. And then as far as lift goes in baseball, opponent bullpen, I would probably say from my own analyst standpoint, I probably should be considering the bullpen maybe even stronger than I have been. Because we look at it from a lift standpoint, 33.7% lift for the day, but look at it 7-day and 30-day. I mean, this is maybe showing the most consistent lift of anything. So probably, telling me as someone who tries to give advice, and I did look at this slate before I came on, and I really look at whether ballpark starter And I really don't look at bullpen probably maybe as much as I should. So maybe today we'll use that as kind of a deal breaker, a tiebreaker, I should say, to move forward or not. And then the park factor. So there's some basics for you folks here. We're going to go ahead and head on over to the Edgeboard here and show you folks some research here today. So far for the day, I haven't placed a single bet. My WNBA bet I had placed yesterday turned out it was for today and not yesterday. So, again, we're going to probably look at some WNBA to start because FanDuel has, again, offered me, and one of the very beginning things we've talked about is you want to take advantage of Boost to make money when it is hard to make money. So betting as a whole, these bookies have in their VIG, they got their juice in there. They are slated to be the winners overall. And so what we're doing with the Edgeboard, we try to give us at least what we consider an even playing field. And the point with an even playing field is to use it Boost to your advantage. So I'm trying to go, so maybe I'm wrong. That's why I wanted to look at this before I waste too much time. It appears that the WNBA bonus is actually tied to DraftKings. So I got a 30% boost. So we're literally going to look to place one bet. But I also wanted to talk to you about when I look at bets today. This happened the other day. So one thing I really like about Edgeboard, and this will apply to NBA, and I'm very excited about this, is a lot of folks, when we talk about what's your best bets, we're talking about bets made day of on most sites. Well, on the WNBA, we show props that are not just the day of August 8th, but if you notice here, August 9th. And so if a team has lines available, and you're going to see this a lot, right? NBA, of course, you have more back-to-backs, but there's not a back-to-back. If I see that we have a good bet to make on August 9th, what happens is I make the bet. And if you watch like Stochastic, one of the biggest things is they talk about CLV. What is the closing line versus what's the line that you got when you made the bet? And Eric from Stochastic, in my opinion, he is almost too over hedging things on CLV, if that makes sense. And I'm not knocking CLV is a good thing. One thing I've noticed with our bets when we're doing this a day in advance is it comes in with very nice CLV. So I had it last bet. And again, this is why I say Eric overvalues it. I had crazy CLV the last time I did that and joked I was going into a day with a nice little profit off of one $10 bet because that's the most they usually let you do. Now DraftKings will let me bet over 10. So I plan to take advantage of that. The point is the bet I made yesterday was at the time, the CLV was estimated that I was at break even with my boost. Now I show that it projects me on one $10 bet that I'm projected almost $3 in profit because the line has moved so much. And actually that game's live now. Shit, I didn't even know. So we have Jackie Young points and rebounds, and it's in the first quarter. And right now she has 6 and we need 23.5. So that's a yellow line because obviously 6 is right at 24. She's projected right now at the end of the first quarter. So this isn't a great start. It's not a bad start. It's not a great start. It is a close game, 21-22 Minnesota. So 12:20, I guess, games. I'm Central Time. We already have a game that's tipped off. We'll see how that continues. So that's funny. Now that it recognizes the game started, my projected profit went down to $1.72. And that is because we need her to score another bucket or grab another rebound. All right, so let's go to my favorite thing I've been looking at and talking about. One of our best tools in the WNBA streets is the Streak Watch. So there it is. There's our bet. Now the system should recognize, to be honest, because yes, this game tipped off at noon our time. So there's our bet we made yesterday on Jackie Young. So let's look at Shakira Young and let's talk about how I look at this and what I'm looking for and what my thoughts are on that. So the point of a streak watch and the big difference, again, educating on this, we don't have a lot of followers yet, so I'll probably keep over explaining this for folks who've watched this again. My apologies. But what we're saying that we do in this estimate is we're not just saying line 17.5. How many times has Shakira Austin hit 17.5 points as a unilateral line? What we try to look at it is here's what Vegas is setting her line and how is she performing versus the expectation. Now that line for Shakira Austin has moved pretty dramatically here. She went from 14.5 points, 14.5, 15.5, 16.5, and now 17.5. She still has beat it each time. So she's had 25, 17, 28, 27, 21. So at the 17.5 line, admittedly, she has missed it one in the last 5 games. But from a betting standpoint and a streak watch of how she's playing versus what Vegas's expectation is, she's performing pretty well. Now, this 17.5 is only the second game at this line. That does make me a little nervous. Let's look at this defense just to kind of feel out, because put it this way, if this line was 16.5, I'd love it. But the fact they have moved the line, it's something you really got to take into account. So Phoenix shows as a bottom 10% defense, a bottom 50% pace of play, which isn't great, but it's strong on the defensive side. She's hit the line at this higher amount, 70%, 7 out of the last 10. The opponent position versus defense is that we're saying that Shakira is a center, and that against centers, it's actually a negative, that they have decent defense against centers. But overall, her form is strong. We already knew that. And they have overall bad defense. So while I love this, I think this might be a pass, because my concern is that they have moved this line to a new high. And then if we look at what we're at, now, granted, again, the versus thing, especially in the WNBA, is kind of just, I'm starting to almost get to a point I might stop looking at, because every stat it had there was from 2024. And that's obviously way too outdated. So we don't have good history against this year. I love the fact that overall our assessment is that she's going to hit this pretty solid. And let's be honest, folks, she's crushing the line, the last 3 lines here, 28, 27, 21. I don't know if there's anything about what's happening from the lineup. I mean, maybe I should go ahead and reconsider the bet. I think we'll look at maybe one or two other things. I was just trying to look at her trended background. I mean, the thing about it I'm noticing is she's just beasting out lately. I mean, she's averaging a double-double, 11, 13, 10 rebounds. She did have only a couple of 6 rebound games prior to that, then 15 and 16. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting this far in the season. I'm looking at the last however many on here has not played Phoenix. So it's really not, it's not great data. It's a slight negative against Phoenix. Let's go ahead and look at some other things here. Okay, let's not do that then, apparently. All right. Let's look at, see if anyone pops up on peak form. So we do have some peak form candidates to look at. Again, this game's live now, so I have to kind of keep that in mind. Jackie Young is live. So peak form, the Shakira Austin is definitely one. Ariel Atkins for LA is in peak form against Golden State. Let's see how that one's trending. So what we do know, and I passed on this the other day, was I think we're going to pass on games against Golden State, because what I've learned is that they are a top 10 defense and a bottom 25% pace of play. So that's incorrectly green. That's a negative. They're bottom 25 pace of play. We don't show recent data against Golden State. She faced them once and hooked on June 16th with 2. I think we're going to pass on that. For one thing, the other reason I'm not in love with it is look at the juice on that versus what we're looking at with Shakira. So there are some decent other place of plays. I think that a lot of these are August 8th. Here's another one for tomorrow. So we like some of what LA is going to do against Golden State. But again, I hate thinking I want to go overs with something like that. So let's look at our elite matchups with positive EV. Nothing pops up there. Let's look at not positive EV. Nothing there. Favorable positive EV combo. And then we're kind of back to some of these that we looked at. So So I wanted to see what other Shakira Austin stats are out there. Now, I got to say, if you're telling me, do I want 17.5 points for Shakira Austin versus 27.5 points in rebounds, even though she is balling out and getting north of 10, it does make me a little nervous when I see that they want her to get 10 rebounds when her season average is 9.6. Overall, I mean, she's just really balling out right now. We like the matchup as a whole. I think maybe we keep it focused to points. It just seems like an awfully high line for a team bottom 10 with a, hold on a second. Did I look at this wrong? Bottom 10 defense, bottom 50%. Did I read that wrong earlier on her points? Why did I think that she was a top? Bottom 10% defense. Okay. I read that wrong. All right, that changes everything. Maybe it was Golden State I was looking at earlier. That's what it was. It was Golden State I was confused with. So, yeah, I mean, they're stingy versus the center, but I'm going to look up one other thing just to kind of hone in on this. We're going to look up Phoenix recent form. Just want to look at one other thing here. So they're middle of the pack on rebounds. Slightly favorable, not a smash spot on offensive rebounds and total rebounds. Slightly and moderately favorable. Shakira Austin. Rebound prediction. Just using, honestly, just some general AI. Yeah, I mean, so the prediction's 10 rebounds, and that's what I would say. I don't think they help. I don't think they hurt. So in other words, adding 27.5 versus 17.5, I mean, they're both lines are the same, but again, I guess my point is, why add that you have to have a strong rebound game? I think anytime you're looking at rebounds like that, I am curious if we looked up Shakira Austin, what her double-double looks like. We're probably gonna go ahead and bet Shakira Austin. This recent form has been pretty good to me. Now I'm gonna say that, and of course we're watching a live bet right now, and now she's falling behind on the trend. So hopefully not foul trouble. We have 6:44 left in the second, and she's still sitting at 6. So, sheesh, not so good. Not so good. This WNBA shit, I gotta be honest, these gals tend to be all over the place. Now, I will say this is a DK promo, and I just hopped on odds, and I did see odds at 26.5 that look very close to the 27.5. So, curious on this. On DK, you can get minus 115 for a double-double. On the score.bet, that's even money. Points and rebounds, 26.5 is not allowed on DK. They're simply saying you can't get that line. So I'll be honest, like if I were to pick a line, 27.5 is minus 109 on DK, where the promo is. I would probably bet the 26.5 on the score at minus 130. That spread is much better. So if you are watching this and you're saying, well, I don't have your bonus code, I would say 26.5 I love. 16.5 points is not offered for Shakira Austin. DK has the best odds offered by anyone at the minus 107. So we are going to go ahead and bet that. We are going to use our boost, but I'm not so in love with it that we're going to bet it big. All right. Have I been scammed? Have I been scammed? WNBA all-purpose boost. Yeah, why isn't it not letting me put it in there then? Come on, DK. What's your problem here, people? It's wanting me to use a no sweat boost. No, I want to use my... All right, what's the problem? Oh my gosh, I've been scammed. I have been scammed. You know, I've seen this on DK. So this promo... I think this is just the stupid shit I see on their site sometimes. You can't just bet it from like a general bet. You actually have to go to the game, and then you have to go down to points. I've seen this before. It's like anything they can do to make it hard to try to make money. This is why we offer what we offer. This is why we're trying to help hook you up. Well, these people are pissing me off. It's not registering that I can use the boost for this game. Boosted up to $20 max, 30% profit, offer valid only on WNBA. This bet can be placed on WNBA on August 8th. That's the problem. And we already had a game tip off today. So these people. So we can't bet that game. So we're down to the Fever, Sky, Storm, Fire. Fever, Sky, Storm, Fire. So we use our handy dandy notebook here. Blues Clues fans out there. Fever, Sky. Jesus. What are the other ones? That's not too smart of me. We got Fever Sky, Seattle, and Portland. All right. Well, that changes some things. And we already know there's no elite matchups. There was no peak form. Favorable matchup with positive EV. Back to that one. And Kelsey Mitchell seems to be standing out against Chicago Sky. Bottom 50% defense, top 25% in pace is good. Average defense against guards. Pretty average against defense on field goal percentage. She had a rough shooting game her last game with 2 threes, not 3. She has hit threes across the board other than that. Against Chicago, last game they played, June 11th, she did not. She hit 2. Then they haven't seen each other since. I do believe you're going to see Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston in this game. I say, with that said, I mean, Kelsey's kind of their main player regardless. I do think you're going to see them at full strength this game. Does that mean at full strength? Does that open the floor up more for her or not? I mean, I hate to say that. She didn't hit it last game and it's minus 170. Sucks. Kind of don't love that. I think it's a very efficient line, this 30 and a half. Now, it is PRA. Overall, favorable matchup. Do we look to lower that line? So I really didn't plan to spend this long. I have to admit, this has got me frustrated on WNBA. That was not in my cards. That was not in my cards to take this long on our first bet. Kelsey Mitchell to get 30. So that's one less, is minus 112. I kind of like that. That's not a huge amount of movement to still see that. The over-under is 29 and a half, has moved down, which is basically, I think, because of the fact we know they're going to be at full strength. So look, of all of the system knows that these ladies are playing. And what we notice here is we're seeing quite a strong theme of Kelsey Mitchell as a favorable matchup against this team. And then I think what we're looking at is, even though she's hit the threes 90% of the time versus the PRA 70% of the time, I'm getting the PRA a point less on the site, which is every bit is huge. So it turns this into an over, I get plus 117 with my boost. So what we are looking at is, even when she misses it, she's so damn close. So I think that this is a very real line. 32, 41, 28. What will kill this line is the blowout. Does Indiana blow them out? But the truth is, Indiana hasn't been that great of a team this year. So I'll take the plus money. But we're not going to use this as a full unit play. We're going to make this a half unit play at plus money. So there's that. We move on from the WNBA. Again, it's so hard compared to the NBA. I'm going to be able to give you so much better knowledge when it comes to my NBA knowledge versus WNBA. I don't watch a single WNBA game. Let's be honest here. You're not seeing me in those streets. So that is what it is. What we try to just do is simply use our tools and tell you what I see and what I think we can do from there. So let's pivot this over to baseball. Baseball has got a pretty big slate today. Games are mainly starting here in the afternoon. What we're going to do here today is I am going to give you guys my take. We're not going to look at the slate view because I've already done this. I got ahead of you folks on that. And I didn't want to have you guys wasting too much time on me on that. So as I looked at the games, I had a lot more interest in some of these early games more than I do the late games. So let's go ahead and dig into this. The very first game is very interesting. It's actually got two very specific things working against each other. The day game in New York with like the perfect atmosphere. Hot, the wind going out to right center, with wind to right center, hot, but you've got two extremely good pitchers. Chris Sale, last three games, strikeouts, 9, 11, and 9. Garrett Cole, not maybe quite as strong as Chris Sale, but let's not kid ourselves. Great pitcher. Good pitcher. So you've got, if someone hits the ball from one of these guys and barrels it, there is certainly a good chance it could be a home run. Like the home run odds are there and very, very much in play. The strikeout odds for Chris Sale, I think, are at play. But I want to just look at this. So it's very interesting. The line for this game is 7.5. So basically, baseball is saying that we think that it's more likely you're going to see it's more likely that you're going to see a good pitching matchup. The pitching is going to overrule the weather. New York is a great ballpark for lefties. Chris Sale is a lefty. So Chris Sale, lefty on lefty. And what I've seen out of New York of late, one of my first predictions I guess I wanted to make, and I know I'm skipping all around here, is team matchups. I looked at team matchups and I looked at just where we at on some money lines and what are we thinking here. And there's clearly some games that I'm going to tell you are going to be some ass whoopings today. The funny thing about baseball is you don't have to worry about blowouts. Like, generally speaking, in baseball, the blowouts at most mean that maybe they sub out a batter at the end, which, I mean, still is in play. But for the most part, you still play the game. So I was looking at EV edges and what did I see for some possible EV plays out there that are realistic could happen. And out of that, at least at the time, Atlanta to beat New York, 59.4% projected by us at plus 1% EV. Now, I kind of feel bad. I was doing a lot of data to get ready for you to stream. And I got to say, now I'm disappointed because I had this line way less than minus 140 to 1 this morning, but went and got some exercise. It still shows some EV there. I think there's something to that. Now, the other one is if you look at totals for the game, what do we think is going to happen? I mean, over 7.5, we think, but is this positive EV? No. And I mean, yeah, this could be a pitcher's matchup, right? So now back to the elite matchups for today, all props. Here's what I would say. I have zero interest in New York batters against Chris Sale. I think Chris Sale's in peak form. I think the guy's balling out. I'm curious if he's on this list. Okay, there he is. I think this matches up very well for Chris Sale. So when you look at my take of how I've learned to take our elite matchups and look to game script it, here's what I look at. What do we think is going to happen? And this lineup's been released, by the way, so I'm going to look at this lineup while we go. Interesting lineup. Like, let's go right off the bat. What's interesting about this lineup? Well, first of all, they're sitting Luis Garcia, which, again, I think this team's crazy to sit Luis Garcia. I get that he is a goon against righties, but I don't care. Like, some of these other New York bats that we're going to put ahead of Luis Garcia, who you picked up at the trade deadline, I mean, our leadoff batter today is Paul Goldschmidt leading off. Holy shit, what has happened to this run line? So this is where I start to talk about when do I use parlays and how do I use parlays. And really, like I say, today's a deep dive. We're just having some fun together. We're looking at this together. And Spencer Jones to strike out. Now, I am going to change this because I hate when I don't have these odds on. Like, I'm not betting Spencer Jones to strike out at minus 562. Sorry. What we are going to do is look at what lines exist in this range that are these 1.5 strikeout batters. So, you know, right off the bat, Rosario's not even playing today. He's not starting, so that's wrong. Oh, all right. I'm going to shut up. He's batting cleanup. Austin Wells batting ninth, so I don't like him to strike out 1.5 times. Austin Riley is batting eighth. They're literally burying this kid at this point, and they are taking him out of the game. So Garrett Cole to strike him out twice. I actually like that bet. I'm not going to bet it, though. Caballero to strike out twice. No, he's buried eighth. Matt Olson to hit Garrett Cole is interesting to me. They're giving plus money on that, but 269 against righties, 256 against his four-seamer, 167 against his slider. And again, Garrett Cole, average FIP, but elite whip. Great ballpark for home runs. I have to tell you, I was interested in possibly looking at Matt Olson to do something against Garrett Cole, but now if this doesn't tell you why we're not going to do it, 23 times Matt Olson has faced Garrett Cole. He is batting 0 for 23. What the fuck? All right. This isn't the Garrett Cole pass. Like, how recently have they faced each other? It's interleague play. This has got to be a lot of outdated stats, but he struck out 14 out of 23 at bats. Holy shit. Yeah, they haven't faced each other this year. So, I mean, Matt Olson's hot. Garrett Cole's a little down. But goddamn, has Garrett Cole had his number, huh? Wow. Wow. All right. I like Michael Harris. He went on a cold streak. He's kind of snapped out of it. Michael Harris also considered an elite matchup against Garrett Cole, which is kind of interesting that we're considering that these two guys are elite matchups. Crushing righties, hits Garrett Cole. This is a much better profile. 300 against righties and loves the kind of pitches Garrett Cole wants to throw against him. And again, why are we looking at this? Wind is going right in the powerhouse for a lefty versus righty matchup. Fair pen. The pen doesn't hurt us. He doesn't have the history against Garrett Cole like you have Austin Riley. So Harris batting cleanup. I was going to tell you that what this tells me is a couple things already that I love about this that we're going to do. Are you seeing any favorable New York bats? No. Do you see New York bats that want to strike out against Chris Sale? Yeah, sure we are. I'm just curious. The strikeout prop has moved. So the -7.5 has moved to -155. That's really the one I was trying to focus on. I think we're missing some data here because I have him going 9, 11, and 9 on strikeouts. So that's interesting that we're missing what I think it was. New York's been striking out quite a bit, to be honest. So +7. All right, folks. We consider this a +7 favorable matchup. Okay, you see where this is going? Chris Sale's going to strike the fuck out of these guys, if you want my opinion. And then we've got 3 batters. By the way, Paul Goldschmidt versus Chris Sale. I was just curious. Yeah, I wanted. What do you mean, do I want this? That's what I told you I wanted. Yes. History, you dumbass. Yeah. All right, so they face each other in an all-star game, so they don't have history. Yeah, it's interleague matchup. I just think that's kind of funny. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to knock Paul Goldschmidt. He's done better lately. And what is Paul Goldschmidt's stats lately? I don't know. Paul Goldschmidt, like, that tells you how. I think what does Paul Goldschmidt leading off for the Yankees tell you? It tells me how fucked the Yankees are. So interesting is that they hardly have been playing Paul Goldschmidt lately. 1 at bat August 7, 2 August 5th, 1 August 4th, 1 August 2nd. So I don't know if he's been hurt or what's going on. 4 at bats Cubs. 4 at bats Cubs. 4 at bats Cubs. 5 at bats White Sox. Since July 30th, Paul Goldschmidt's gotten 1 hit. He struck out 1 bunch of zeros in those 1. So his last game, they had him bat 1 time against the Braves yesterday, and he gets up 1 time and he strikes out. 1 strikeout versus the Cubs on the first 1, 2 against White Sox. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt leading off. Yeah, that's, you know what probably happened is I looked at this, then they announced Paul Goldschmidt was leading off, and that's when the line moved. That's what happened. Jackie Young, 15 points and rebounds at half, so she's tracking well. She ended the half strong. So if you tailed me on that bet. All right, folks, so what are we doing here? What did all that lead to? What was all that about? We are going, I don't like, one thing you've learned about me, and you're going to see a much different betting pattern in the NBA. In the NBA, I'm much more apt to go with minus plays with higher probabilities to win. Baseball, I feel, is much more binary, and it's either it happens or it doesn't happen. And so I really don't like playing minus money plays. Now, strikeouts is the one play. Strikeouts is the one play. I will play in the minus streets. So minus 155 on BetMGM, minus 163 on DraftKings. Do I want to have to use minus 184 on FanDuel? Do I really want to use a bonus bet? No. And again, I'm not, minus 160 is too much for me. So what we're going to do now, I've looked at my three spreads at 8 strikeouts. MGM 155, DK 163, FanDuel 184. Now what we're going to do is we're going to scooch on up here to Atlanta money line. You know, I will tell you guys, I'm really thinking we're going to look at this Novig. Novig is getting kind of out of hand with some of these promos, and they are consistently the best lines. And I'm hearing that they became licensed in the entire country. And one of the things for them to do it apparently was something about them not being able to move lines post bet as much, if that makes sense. We might be looking at them. All right. So what is my first play of the day? I'm not getting this juiced all that well. So I don't think I boost this, but there is a 30% boost I could have used on his strikeouts alone. I don't know. It's a pretty high strikeout prop. I think I like this play. So I had, if you guys recall yesterday, I picked a home run bet on Shohei Ohtani, and I don't think any of the guys I was considering ended up hitting a home run. So we were fucked regardless. I'm pretty sure. I have a $10 no sweat bet, and if you're using $10 no sweat bet on a home run, the whole point was to make this a high risk home run play. Well, on a no sweat bet, they are only giving you the winning portion of your $10 back. You don't get the whole thing. So I am going to go with this as my no sweat bet. I'm going to Atlanta Braves money line because we look at this picture and I think that the picture says 1,000 words. We're going to go Atlanta Braves money line, and we are going to go with Chris Sale to get 8 strikeouts. Then we're going to go back to our buddy Chris Sale. And we are going to predict that he is going to strike out the fuck out of these boys today. And this one is definitely riskier. Let's be clear. But we are going to play the 8.5 strikeout also. And I'm actually getting this at plus 125. So this would be pretty much a positive EV play at this 8.5 strikeouts. Now, again, 9 strikeouts against the Mets, 11 strikeouts. Hadn't hit it prior. St. Louis is a tough to strike out team. I think there's going to be some striking out today. Now, let's be clear, this is a quarter unit play, maybe even slightly less. This is me just betting a little bit because I want to track it. I think it's a winning play, But I have to admit, the line, all these lines move. So I'm late to the game on this. This is the problem when I'm streaming to you guys at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the problem. That's where I fucked this up. Now, what I do want to do is I want to go back and I want to look at some of these other plays here that we think, guys, what do we know about, again, lefty, by the way, with New York, lefty hit pitchers against the New York lineup is also tougher against New York. Let's be clear about that. And by the way, I do think that we're missing data on that. I could have swore I saw this, that he went 9, 11, and 9 on strikeouts, but we're not going to waste time on that. So Drake Baldwin, 293 against righties. Atlanta against righties is what I'm trying. That was the whole moral of the story. Atlanta versus righties is a tough matchup. It's a tough out for pitchers, right-handed pitchers. Do I love Drake Baldwin against Garrett Cole? We're saying that our total bases is the play here today. Can any of these guys hit a home run? So we're just going to look at these 3 batters because we're doing deep dives today. This is going to be a long stream, folks. Buckle up. Hopefully some people out there are going to start joining these. I'm eventually going to be streaming this on TikTok. But I was just curious. Do we want to throw out a home run for any of these guys? And we're just going to look at this from a sim probability standpoint. So what I can say for sure is Matt Olson has never hit a home run against this guy. And if those odds are truly anywhere close to that low, I have 0 interest. And yeah, it is confirmed that these Kalshis and Novigs are your only ones north of 300, and that the score.bet is at plus 275 and DK plus 272. I have 0 interest in even the fact, like, this is the hottest Matt Olson in the world, right? You guys are seeing this. This is one hot fucking Matt Olson. This dude is on fire. I am not interested. He's never hit a home run against Garrett Cole. And in 23 at-bats, he struck out, what was it? It's over half the time the result is a strikeout. Now, would I be interested in Michael Harris? Possibly. He had been on a cold streak. He hasn't been hitting for power. I don't think I like any. So look, the point was the weather is ripe for home runs. Could Olson touch off on a home run today? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm not betting that. Now, we are north of 400 on a site, 375 on the score.assholes, and DK's at 365 for Harris. I want to say that there is a specific promo today for a home run on FanDuel. I think it's one of my bets today. And yeah, so I get a 30% boost, but there are odds for Harris. I mean, if Harris was north of 400, this is again the whole point of this is, could these guys hit a home run? They give him we're actually saying Matt Olson has a 37% chance to hit a home run. I came into the stream 100% ready to bet Matt Olson home run and Matt Olson total bases. I am off that bet because the history was so bad. And maybe shame on me. Maybe shame on me on that. I will, despite the horrible history, I am going to ride the hot hand here and say, can Matt Olson at least touch off? We are predicting a win. Matt Olson is batting third. We like Drake Baldwin to get on base. Acuna righty. I don't know if I love that as much. So what can we bet for Matt Olson today? Well, let's look. Total bases plus 128. So way better than we think. We think it's plus EV. We think it's 50-50. Sure. I'm going to put me a little something on that. We're going to put a little slice, a little divvy, a little something. Michael or Matt Olson, RBI. I probably should have just had all these up just to show I'm doing this in a way that I shouldn't. All props. What do we like? We like him to hit a home run. I'm probably going to end up mad at myself on this one lately. The guy is just, he is barreling the fuck out of the ball. I mean, look at this. 6 out of 10 home runs, 3 out of 10 doubles. He had a game with a home run and a double. The day he doesn't hit the home run, he hits a double. And then the other time he doesn't hit a home run, he hits a double. This dude is balling. Could he strike out twice today? Sheesh. That's on the board. All right. Are you really giving me minus 110 on an HRR on Matt Olson today? Are you actually doing that? Okay, yeah. I should have just bet this and this only. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, we'll put a half a unit. No, we're going to put a third a unit on that. You guys saw the history. Jesus Christ. This is an older Garrett Cole. They haven't faced each other this year. This could be me over analyzing the history. I hope I don't regret that. All right, so there's a couple Olsen ones. I like the RBI too, and I bet the RBI is way higher than that. So I'm going to pass on Drake Baldwin. He wasn't across the board as good there, but goddamn does Michael Harris. If Michael Harris is out of the slump, and I love Michael Harris. I love the Braves team. Like, look, this team's hot in the playoffs. Oof. Oof. Look what Michael Harris is doing of late. Look what Michael Harris, this is kind of interesting. Has he hit many home runs lately? No. Has the guy hit 3 out of 4 games, hit a double? I might have a little fun with that. We might put a little, today's a little crazier day. We're going a little crazy today, admittedly. I would normally say let's keep it calm. But you're going to give me plus 434 on DK for him to hit a double? All right. Now we're going to try to protect the double. We're going to protect the double with some other things that are maybe not as crazy. What I like to see is he's not striking out a lot lately. Total bases. Plus 121 on DK. That's some protection. I love that. We show it more of a 50-50 bet. I think this is a good matchup for him. And if you're also giving me an HRR at this type of low number, I'm going to go with it. So we are going heavy on Michael Harris. I didn't bet any of these bets big. Let's be clear. We went with a quarter unit on a double and then protected it with a half unit HRR and a third unit on total bases. That I do think that, now if Michael Harris goes 0 for today, that does combine for a unit more or less of loss. But I don't feel as bad. This home run is not high enough for me to get north of 400 on a double. I'll take it. So that was one of my focus games right off the bat. I wanted to point that game out. I like Atlanta there. Now the next game is kind of stupid. DraftKings is doing this dumb fucking promotion. It's a dumb fucking promotion. It's like a bait you in promotion. It's a bait you in promotion. It reminds me of the World Cup promotion, but it's worse. The World Cup was doing this on a bunch of deals where you could bet World Cup at crazy odds and get various things. And why am I searching for this when I know it's on FanDuel? So they did this last night. They're doing it again. They're only using this for the stupid Boston versus Athletics game. And basically the promo is if your team goes up 1 run, then you get to use it and you win. Money line bet only. Straight pregame money line bet only on $10. So what are they trying to get you to do? They want you to bet plus 230 on the Athletics. Did you guys watch last night's game? Boston beat the fuck out of them. So, hey, winner today. I actually only get minus 250. I swear last night I bet $10 to win $3. Today I'm betting $10 to win $4. It's probably a dumb bet. I mean, I think honestly this is just a dumb bet. I'm using the promo. I don't know. So last night I bet $10 to win $3 that Boston wins. They won 13-1. Oakland, why are we doing this, guys? Oakland has gone to shit. You take out their two guys, Nick Kurtz and Langoliers. The lineup's a disaster. Last night, you had Boston go 13-1. Peyton Tolley had a perfect game and then strikes out Tyler Soderstrom, who then, challenges that it's not a strikeout. Turned out it wasn't, and then turns the next pitch into a home run. Kind of interesting. I minus 250. Like, could the A's beat Boston? And this is a sucker bet. There's no EV in that, right? I'm not going to take it to the page that said we predict Boston to win 60 whatever percent of the time, and it was negative EV. But you combine the fact that all Boston has to do is score and go up 1-0, and I win the bet. I won the bet literally in the second inning last night, maybe even the first. So I don't know. But I can tell you what I'm not going to do, and what they're trying to get you to do is they're trying to get you to bet money on the A's at plus 230. That all they have to do is get lucky and go up 1-0 in the first inning, and you win the bet. And there would be times I would be interested in that. I'm not interested in that right now. End of story. What do we know about this game, though? What else do we know about this game? We do know that this is also a game very close to New York with the same 90-degree temperature and the same wind going out to right center with an over-under of 9. And we also know that Gage Jump is pitching for the A's, who, on a team that sucks, has potential to be a good pitcher. But what we also know is that Gage Jump's kind of been rocked of late. He has had decent strikeout stuff, 5, 7, and 5. His last 3 games earned runs 6, 0, and 6. Now, here's the really wild stat about this game. By the way, 7.53 ERA last 3 games. 2 out of his last 3 games were absolutely awful. But he had a gem in between 2 terrible games. It was against Boston at Oakland. I mean, that's weird, right? The problem Gage Jump, he's also had in the last 3 games, even against his game against Boston, 6 walks, 4 walks, 4 walks. So Gage Jump is a decent strikeout pitcher who has good stuff. We are predicting that there's probably going to be some strikeouts this game. What I went to in our elite matchup here, let's go to our elite matchup. Sorry, I got off of it. You're probably going to see some Boston players highly likely to strike out. This lineup is out. We have Monasterio batting 5th. This is the hottest team in baseball. I don't know what this guy's season average is, but I can tell you this. This guy sucked for a lot of the year. And it just seems like Boston all of a sudden is everyone just, they're all in this happy place. Yeah, he's up to 272 for the year. I don't know what to do with this game. Right now, all I did was say that Boston goes up 1-0, they win. Maybe that was even a mistake. It was a bad EV play. Maybe I should have left it alone. Wind is out. It's 90 degrees. If someone makes hard contact, especially if it's a lefty, so both pitchers are left-handed pitchers. So that was the other. This is a weird game. This is a weird game. I mean, if you just want to use what's happening of late, Boston's going to beat the shit out of them because Oakland as a whole is just in. I mean, look. Boston or A's lineup 259, 268, 231, 248, 267, 211, 210, 222, 252. Holy fuck. Their leading batter is batting 267 on this team. 268, I'm sorry. Tyler Soderstrom's the only guy I give credit for being a good power hitter on this team at this point, who's the guy who hit the home run yesterday to end the game for, or end the perfect or no hitter, whatever it was, is batting 248. Our elite matchups are Boston batters to strike out, and then a guy that I haven't bet on all year that we don't even think is 50-50 to go over 1.5 bases. We have the over as a 9. Under 9 is only 46.6% chance to go under. We like Jake Bennett as a better pitcher. So, I mean, I'm disappointed to see that there's really not other Boston bats that I was kind of hoping to see. Like, this is one of these weird games that it's 90 degrees with wind out. Do I want to bet any Oakland bats? No. But who's my Boston bat that I think makes sense as an individual play? Like, this is one of these weird games. It's like, you can't make money on Boston. I'm going to make the stupid $4 off of $10. But is there anything that tells me, other than Andrew Monasterio, that I should be betting Boston players here? Anything? I mean, this is one of the hottest. We bet him yesterday and won. By the way, yesterday I was break even pretty much. I lost a third of a unit. I had very few plays in. One was Rafaela for 1.5 bases, which hit. I liked Burleson to go well against Colorado. If you guys recall, I told you guys that would be a low scoring game. That these teams, Colorado away from Colorado, is hilarious to me. You put them in St. Louis ballpark and tell me how much they score there. Well, they scored 2 runs. I was disappointed Burleson didn't go, but I picked a parlay, and I picked St. Louis and Detroit. And for those wondering what made my night a losing night, Detroit gets 11 hits against San Francisco and scores 2 runs. So go figure. That was the weirdest game. I watched it too, and I mean, there were times I was like, all right, here we go. First and third, 1 out. Let's go. No runs. Next inning, second and third, 1 out. No runs. We predict what's going to happen. The model supports what I've told you. Gage jump strikes people out. He also walks batters. He walks Contreras. He walks Nick Sogard. He walks Caleb Durbin. The funny play would be when I tell you that I like bets that are 50-50 to go plus money, is do we play some of this all plus money and then we know somebody's walking so you make money? But no, that's not the play. Do we like Sedain? Do we like Rafaela again for 1.5 hits as a positive play? 282 versus lefties. It is your righty on lefty matchup. We do consider Gage Jump to be a decent pitcher. He doesn't hit the four-seamer well, but he hits the slider well. Very limited sample size on Gage Jump. But what do we know? We know he's done it 8 out of the last 9 games. I think that might be our only play here, folks. I don't think I want to overbet this game. I think this could be a game where I regret not overbetting it. Example, probably why I'm so on tilt on this game is we watch Boston just go 13-1 or whatever the fuck it was, right? And we know Boston is so hot. So that's when you're kind of like, Matt, get your head out of your ass and bet the shit out of Boston players. And I don't think I can do it. I think that what we can do is we can go Rafaela to get his total bases again because the guy's hot and you're at least giving me my plus 102 and I'm still not even going to overbet that. I'm going to put literally a half unit on that. I'm not using my boost on that. And then, you know, I will say Tyler Soderstrom is hot, but it's lefty on lefty. I don't love that. I think Rafaela as a whole is a strong play. I'm not going to go 2.5 bases. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate ever betting over 1.5 HRR. I'm just going to tell you that from the rip. Like, you're very few times in life are you going to talk me into 2.5 bases. Sogard has walked 7 games in a row. This guy likes to throw walks. He likes to walk batters. Plus 150, Sogard to get a walk. That's kind of an interesting EV play, right? He's a switch hitter. He's going to see the bats. I don't think that this is the kind of guy who's getting subbed out. Yeah, he's been seeing consistently 4 and 5 at-bats most games. There is a couple times they pinch hit for him. Sometimes when it comes to these walks, this is another one I want to point out. Let's keep with Sedain on the... I got Sedain on my screen real quick. I wanted to look up one other stat. I wanted to look up him to score a run today. Yeah, minus 116 to score a run. I think that is... that's a good... That sounds good to me. I think Boston's going to score some runs. The most likely guy to score a run and plus EV. I think that's a good bet there, people. I like that play. Half a unit on that also. Now, the other guy to consider is Contreras. That's also a righty-lefty matchup. Looks like my Jackie Young bet so far today is going to hit. We're in the 3rd period, and she's at 21. They are starting to lose to Minnesota. They're down 9, so hopefully they don't get blown out, but she's getting close. So we're going to start the day out nicely. And again, this is us using my favorite tool, favorite Edgeboard tool, Streak Watch. You're going to see me living in those streets when the NBA time comes, folks. I mean, Baseball, I feel I've gotten to become a strong baseball analyst. I've worked hard at it. Boy, I can't wait till NBA season with the tools Edgeboard has. If you are on the fence on getting into Edgeboard, and I'll tell you, betting baseball is tougher. Our again, our biggest competition is Stochastic, and their leading guy who's done this for many years in Eric over there has been told to stop doing the stream I'm doing. Stop streaming live. We don't even want you streaming live anymore because you're doing so bad. He lost the entire month of July. They made his promo code. My code is EDGE to sign up for my site. For them, their promo code right now is be better. Be better. As in, I gotta be better. I suck so bad at my job. I am not making that up. All right. Let's look at one other guy here. And I like what I'm seeing. I'm liking Contreras here. I like what I'm seeing with the hottest team in baseball. I think we look at Wilson Contreras and how he matches up against this kid. So you're looking at, of course, we just went with runs and total bases for Rafaela. What do we think Contreras does that looks to be a positive EV matchup against him? And I'm not really interested in walks or strikeouts, although, again, I think either is a good play here. And I'm going to avoid the walks altogether. My guess is that the team has spent a significant amount of time telling Gage Jump to stop walking people. If you really want my opinion, which could lead to him getting rocked today. It could be that he gets rocked. We liked the run. Contreras has not been that hot lately. So maybe I do need to rethink this a little bit. 280 against lefties. He hits the four-seamer 270, hits the sinker 350. It's only 23 of 29 for righties to hit home runs. I hate betting any Boston right-handers to hit a home run. The wind is out to right central. Yeah, not left central. Did I say the right field wall? I meant the left field wall. Yeah, so the wind isn't quite the direct. I wish the wind was left center. Could Contreras hit a double today? Yeah. What do I want to do with Contreras? What do we want to do with Contreras here? I mean, we're really going to give him minus money to get an RBI? It could be that Contreras is too juiced. Vegas has got their grips on Contreras. This might be a pass. He's not hot enough. He's not hot enough for Vegas to juice him this bad. Boston might be hot enough. But is Contreras really hot enough for this? For these shenanigans? That they literally want to juice some of these odds this bad? Total bases, barely even money. RBI, come on. Plus 110 at BetMGM. %44 chance for him to get an RBI. 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. Hasn't hit a double in 10 games. All right, we're going to move on. I think he could have a big game today. He could. I just, Gage Jump is, we got to remember, this is not one of Oakland's dogs. Like, Gage Jump could be eventually, like, even now, maybe considered their best pitcher. Maybe. I hate that this is the conditions it is. And I literally told you to bet one guy. That's it. We move on. Boston money line, take advantage of parlays. That's our deep dive for that game. I want to look at the next game at one thing and one thing only. The next game is Angels at Miami. I do not like Miami's ballpark. I do not like how either offense is playing right now. The over under this game was 7.5. No elite matchups in this entire game. Only favorable matchup out there is Xavier Edwards to hit his single, and he hasn't even done that in 2 games. Zach Neto to strike out twice against Sandy Alcantara at plus 120. I actually kind of like that bet. We're going to pass on it. He actually hits his main pitch 278, 155 against the changeup. Has faced Sandy Alcantara 3 times, and Alcantara struck him out 3 times. That's probably a good bet, folks. I'm going to tell you the truth. But if I can go 2 strikeouts, I got to see better odds. I have one play for you this game. Under 7.5. Edgeboard agrees with me. These offenses are in a funk. But it's minus money. I don't know if I like minus money on that. Minus 118. We don't give that a positive EV play. I think it's a pass. We move on. If you want to, this is where I think you go with like Boston beats Oakland and you parlay it with the Miami under. Just to make it a more, fuck it, we'll have some fun today. It's a deep dive day. We're out here for the long run today. We're having us a pleasant day here with you folks. I went out and played a little disc golf already today, worked my ass off. Got up early and got some good exercise in. Boston is minus 245, 250 on FanDuel. So you can do a 2-leg parlay. Boston at minus 250 and under 7.5 runs, and flip that to plus 158. And then you could use your 30% profit boost because that's a bigger variance to make it a plus 206 play. I'm just going to play it for $5 just because I'm curious how that hits at plus money. But that's just a way of how you think about as you go through your plays and how you look at things and how you can make adjustments. I think that under comes in. I think these are 2 pitchers in a park against 2 offenses that are both somewhat anemic right now. That comes through. Toronto at Philadelphia. By the way, when we talk about this deep dive and how long I'm going to stream, the games get a whole lot less interesting to me in the evening. That's why I'm spending so much time right now. All right. What do we know about this game? This game is in Philadelphia. It's hot again. It's out to right center again. We got the Max Scherzer, Aaron Nola combo platter. And Max Scherzer kind of burnt me last game that he did pitch somewhat decent. And even after that game, he still has a 7.92 ERA. Aaron Nola with a 5.55 ERA. Lefties for Philly against Max Scherzer. Lefties for Toronto against Aaron Nola. Very interested in this. Toronto's last 3 games have scored 5, 2, and 5 runs. Philadelphia 4, 7, and 4 runs. The over-under is 9.5. My first play of this game is I think this is an over all day long. Even when I don't like Toronto's offense. They have scored 5, 2, and 5. I think Philadelphia scores even more. Philly, Toronto, over 9.5, 53.6%, minus 110 at plus 1.2% odds, or EV. Me likey. Me likey. Me likey. We're going to put a half unit on that. Me likey. You know, every fucking game's got to be a sweat. Jackie Young is at 22, but now we got 9 minutes and 44 seconds in the fourth. Can you just go over the damn line already? Sheesh. All right. Now, what do we want to look at next is who is going to help me score over 9.5 runs? Well, the first thing kind of has me bummed out. It says nobody's an elite matchup. All right. Well, fuck. Why did I bet that over? What am I doing here? All right. Bryson Stott, lefty. I don't know if I love that. I think that's a pass for me. Bryce Harper. 286 against righties. Fair against Scherzer's types of pitches. Scherzer, of course, very hittable. Doesn't have recent history against Scherzer, but I can tell you that I looked at some older history and Harper somewhat owned him. Harper has been hotter lately. I do like 1.5 here. I don't like 1.5 at minus money. So what's going to be our play here? I'm definitely betting. Bryce Harper basically called out the Phillies and told them to spend money. So they spent money. The lineup just got announced. Now, if you guys follow me, you'll know that I want to bang my head against the wall at what I think is the dumbest fucking lineup in all of Major League Baseball right now. And that is that you pick up Luis Arias and you decide that the best thing to do with him is to have him bet cleanup and not lead off. And you lead off with Kyle Strikeout Schwarber. And they're still doing it. So, riddle me confused. They have Harper at minus money on this, which is kind of frustrating, but I'm still going to put a nudge on that. That minus 113 is the best odds on DK is kind of frustrating. Kind of frustrated on that one. Harper to hit a home run now. So these were our only favorable plays. It's the only one I like. I have to admit, I'm kind of nervous. I said this now. Maybe it's just because the game's getting nuked on EV side of things. Could it be that? Justin Crawford's been hot. Here's the thing I can tell you, man. You get a shitty righty against Philadelphia, and they can really make your day miserable. And I mean, Justin Crawford batting 7th, apparently, lines up against Max Scherzer incredibly well. That's interesting. Crawford to get a hit run RBI at close to at even money on BetMGM. Sign me up. We're looking for the whole team to make his day miserable. One thing that's kind of disappointing with the Phillies is Brandon Marsh has gone to shit here on the tail end of the year. And I'm not really sure why. We're going a half unit Justin Crawford on a hit run RBI. Interesting that they think Aaron Nola and Max Scherzer both have favorable lineups. So some of this is now starting to say that this over 9.5 runs might have been a mistake. I want to look at some home run plays here. I think there's home runs to be hit, but clearly we don't have the favorable matchups I had hoped for. Top of our home run list is the Schwarbaum, who has not hit a home run to save his ass. He's batting .219 against righties. He doesn't face Scherzer well. Number 1 ballpark in all of baseball to hit home runs for lefties. Hot. Wind is out to right center field. 167 in 23 at bats against Max Scherzer, never hit a home run. This is old version of Scherzer, but this kind of goes back to the Matt Olson thing. Like, why are the odds plus 165 for Schwarber to hit a home run? Like, why? Harper has me much more interested, but not at those odds. So hopefully that is dramatically off. If you're telling me I'm not getting 300 to hit a home run for Harper, I'm just not interested. And the bullshit sites are north of 300. FanDuel has him at plus 285. He's hit 2 of 10. I think he's going to be good to do some damage today, but I have to admit I'm very turned off by the odds I'm seeing. I do like Harper for an RBI, but again, the bullshit sites have him priced pretty well for an RBI. The other sites really just don't. Plus 115 is not that good for him to get an RBI, but I am going to go ahead and put a nudge on it because I at least get my plus money. And again, I think that it is ripe. The conditions are ripe for offense. And some of this is, what are we thinking about? What are we thinking about as Scherzer's body of work versus Max Scherzer today? And we're still banking on Max Scherzer today's not the move. I don't care about righty on righty matchups here. I want my lefties that are going to get the short right field wall, and they're going to get the wind. So Jesus Sanchez. Batting cleanup. Batting 271. They actually have not announced the Toronto lineup yet. Has recently hit a home run. We're predicting some offense here. 284 against righties, 287 against his pitch type. Clearly a pitcher who is hittable. Decent barrel rate. Actually gets some odds. I have not bet Jesus Sanchez a single time this year. I have avoided Toronto offense like it's the measles. I don't even know much about Jesus Sanchez. I don't like what I see. It looks like they platoon him a lot where he gets limited at bats. He got one at bat yesterday. Comes in out. Oh, he did get full at bats. He walked twice yesterday. Okay. And hit a double. Against the Cubs, they only gave him 2 at bats. He didn't do shit. Against the Astros, he got 3 at bats and hit a home run with 2 RBIs. His recent form is hot. He's probably the kind of guy that you put the righty in, or you put the lefty in to sub Nola out, and then they pull Sanchez. So that's the biggest risk. I think we're batting him cleanup under the premise that we think Philly probably brings in a righty because there's more dangerous at bats for Toronto that are righties. Now, I maybe should also think Aaron Nola is not great against righties either. So do any of these guys match up incredibly well? I mean, Kazuma kind of does for him, but not necessarily against righties. I don't know, man. Maybe I should have did this before I just went and bet the over of 9.5 runs. Like, where is the offense so likely to come from? Here's a guy who I bet, I would bet Brandon Marsh like in my sleep. But what has happened to Brandon Marsh? 300 against righties, hits the fastball like there's no tomorrow. 301 against his weighted average. In 14 at bats, he's only hit him twice. And recent form for Brandon Marsh has just been like, what happened? Do we need to get you back on the steroid cream, buddy? Like, what happened with Brandon Marsh? I loved this guy. You know, 2 of the guys that I was making a ton of money on, I'm now completely off of. Brandon Marsh and CJ Abrams. Brandon Marsh, mainly because, like, what happened to him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's kind of gotten form back. He got no hits yesterday, but did score a run. He walked twice. 2 hits, scored a run with an RBI 2 days ago. Hitting a run the day before that. Hit in an RBI the day before that. Then was the cold streak. Okay. Brandon Marsh isn't hitting for power, but maybe he's coming back a little bit. I'm just curious where the power was this game. I kind of really thought if I'm going to predict anything, I think Harper hits the home run, but I'm not going to go under 300 on that. Even if you gave me one more home run, I'd probably be a little more interested. Jesus Sanchez is interesting. I wish I'd see this lineup. I was kind of hoping it'd be released by now. Springer, Lukes, Guerrero, Sanchez, Clement. With Lukes and Sanchez, your lefties. Lukes 263, Sanchez 271 are 2 of their better for average hitters. Clement is also interesting. Luke's to get on base against Nola looks pretty good, like to cause some overall noise. This guy's not a barrel guy. He's not a barrel guy. So no on home run there. Let's dig into Sanchez a little more because I don't know this guy for shit. High chase rate. Doesn't hit anything but a cutter all that well. That is not going to be one of the primary pitches. He hits the four-seamer 287, but does show power. A lot of things I like here. Okay. All right, fuck it. Like, look, I don't think I'm going to bet much more this game. We're going to go with a Sanchez home run at plus 400. 425 on the score dot asshole. The score dot assholes have got him pretty well priced. So we'll slap a little something on that. Now, is there a protection bet to make for Jesus Sanchez? Do we think he's batting fourth? Maybe, right? What do we predict on here? What do they say? Sixth. Oh, Jesus. All right. I was going to say, I don't think I've seen this guy in cleanup before. This site thinks fourth. We think sixth. I bet he's fifth. I'm going to predict fifth. Fifth does have decent RBI. He is getting plus 200 on an RBI today on BetMGM. Anytime I see plus 200 on a guy that I think has a chance to hit for power with 90-degree temperature against Aaron Nola, yeah, sign me up. Sign me up there. I like that. I like that. Plus money for a hit, run, and RBI. All right, sign me up. So we're going to protect that he doesn't hit the home run with two protector bets that tell me that I think this guy does something today. I mean, I should look at, like, this is such bad, like, maybe I'm going off the deep end on this. I haven't bet this guy one time all year. I have avoided Toronto offense like the plague. What has this guy done as a whole, other than just very recently decide he doesn't suck? Yeah, they're not liking what I'm thinking here. 1.5 HRR is still under 50%. I am getting plus money though. Ugh. Ugh. This is such a bad pitcher though. He doesn't even hit Aaron Nola well. Ugh. 22 at bats is significant. He's gotten 2 hits and 22 at bats. All right, I need to stop betting this. I'm stopping. Stop. Stop. What are you doing? 4 minutes left and she's at the hook. 23 points and rebounds. They're down 12, so it's still not complete blowout. I'm going to be honest. If I lose that bet to start today, I'm going to be pissed. That's going to put me on tilt. All right, we're getting out of this game. I really hoped I was going to see more I liked. Oh, the fuck? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Where Kyle Schwarber should be. This guy should be batting cleanup. Does he not, like, what? 330 versus righty, hits a 4-seam fastball, 345. Doesn't hit the slider well. Terrible pitcher. Max Scherzer, why is this not screaming off our page? Because they have a good bullpen and he likes to strike out some? What? What? Doesn't hit home runs. Could he hit one today? Sure. Do we just have this guy juiced so bad? 1.5 bases, close to even money. Hits, runs, RBIs. I'm sure that's horrible. He's batting cleanup, folks. They got this guy batting cleanup, batting .667, obviously small sample size. This is what Schwarber should be. This guy should be leading off. Why is Luis Arias not leading off? Can someone... Man, I can't wait till someday when I actually have a bunch of viewers. I'd love for someone to tell me what I'm missing here. You got to remember 50% RBIs. He's only been on Philadelphia now. He's 3 out of 4 is my guess. How many games has been since the trade deadline? Right? This is when he was batting leadoff. I think. Close to it. Why is this guy batting 4th? But if you're going to bat him 4th, why am I not wanting to make more money off of him? The top 1.5 HRR line of the day is on FanDuel for him. This is where you look at 30% profit boost and give me my $10 on that at minus 125. Thank you very much. I'll take my HRR at 56.4% with my boost. That's the kind of play where I like to make my boost when they have it like that. Now, can I get plus money on bases? I get even money on bases. And where do we think he's at on bases since they put him at 4 out of the last 5 games? No, 3 out of the last 5 games, 40%. Oh, that's wrong. Three bases, 4 bases, 3 bases, and then had a shitty game last game. I might pass on that. I love the HRR close to home, at that. It is kind of interesting today, and I'm just throwing it out there now that I see it. I mean, this guy hasn't hit hardly any home runs all year, but there's something to remember about this. There's something to kind of keep in mind here. He's hit 4 home runs all year. He hit a home run 3 games ago. What park do I hate? Where does Luis Arias come from? He comes from San Francisco, the shittiest fucking park for anyone to hit home runs in the entire league. Is he going to have traffic all around him? We're saying this is plus 725. I'm telling you today is a nuclear day against a shitty old pitcher with this guy batting cleanup. Plus 1,060 to hit a home run. Plus 1,060 to hit a home run on FanDuel. Yeah, okay. There's a 30% profit boost to hit a home run today. I'm not going to use it on that, though. That's a stupid one. That's what you should use the 30% profit boost is like, that's when you're like so sure that there's going to be a Schwarber. Or maybe I should look at the Harper one now on that, but I think they had him milked. I mean, because plus 1,060, if this guy actually hits a home run, who's mad that I didn't use the boost? You can bet literally 1/8 of a unit and win great money at this. Sure. Is this guy, I mean, like, is he a barrel type hitter? Not really, but is he a great hitter? Yes. I mean, he's not a barrel guy, but his launch angle's pretty good. I'm just throwing it out there again. We're taking him from, why is he plus 1,000? All right, my whole thing I'm trying to explain is we literally took him out of park, probably 30 of 30 or whatever it is, 28 out of 29, one of the worst, to park number 1 of 29. For him to now hit home, he looks at the wall in right field now with 90-degree temperatures and wind blowing out versus I'm in the fog in fucking Frisco land with a terrible park, right? Yeah, I'll put an eighth a unit on that. Sure. All right. With traffic, batting cleanup, I wouldn't bet this if he was leading off like he should be. Am I going to give him plus 157 on an RBI for a fourth a unit? Hells yeah, I am. Someone's got to score 9.5 runs here, people. I bet the over. All right. That's who I overlooked. This is who Schwarber should be. Instead, it's Luis Arias. Let's make him a power hitter. Let's make him a power hitter today. That's what we do. All right, next game. This one I find very interesting. And we probably don't do anything with it. There is one play I'm interested in, but because our own website disagrees with me, I'm going to avoid it. And I know why it's avoiding me. So St. Louis, Colorado's at St. Louis. It's 90 degrees. There is no wind. It is St. Louis ballpark. So we go from Philly ballpark to St. Louis ballpark, night and day. But the interesting part is you've got this Libby versus, what is it, Freeland? These are two really shitty lefties. But this is the huge but that's very interesting about this game. They had their best outing for both of them, Freeland and Liberatore. Freeland went 8 innings or something, 7 innings with 9 strikes. I don't even remember what, I didn't write this down. The point I'm trying to make is Libby and Freeland both had 2 amazing games their last outing. They both pitched very well. And while they both kind of suck, they have got 93 strikeouts and 107 strikeouts respectively. And they're facing teams that to me have better players as a whole that are against right-hand batters and not left-hand pitchers, right-hand pitchers, not left-hand pitchers. So in my opinion, 8.5 runs is too high. Last night, these teams, you take Colorado out of Colorado. They scored 2 runs last night. Was it 3-2, right? 3-2 was the final last night. I do not like this to go over 8.5 runs. Our site thinks that could happen. Jackie Young, 28 points and rebounds. Streak watch continues its magic. I would bet the under this game. I was curious who was considered to be an extreme elite matchup, and apparently JJ Weatherholt against him. Look at JJ Weatherholt's recent form, though. I mean, plus 220 on a walk is tantalizing. He is getting guys deep into the count consistently. That's an interesting bet. You know, when you talk about One thing that you guys have with me, unfortunately, is a bit of a boomer. I'm not very good with my typing. Why did you? Kyle Freeland walks 2-1-2-0-0-1-1. He hasn't been a big walker. He did in his last games. He decided. So yeah, he did. This is so hilarious. Kyle Freeland pitched a complete game against the Royals. 9 innings pitched of 1 earned baseball in Colorado last game with 8 strikeouts. Now, I will tell you that was without Bobby Witt. And I think if you guys recall, I bet the under that game and we hit. I think that's the game I bet the under. Maybe it isn't. But I pointed out that the Royals offense is just in utter shambles. Oh, God. I don't think Freeland's a high walk pitcher, to be honest. I don't consider that a lot of walks. Wetterholt's batting 154 in August. I like that bet. I'm going to tell you guys right now, like, Jesus. You got a guy not batting very well. He might be purposely trying to walk. You know what? When it's plus 236 on FanDuel, I consider this the same thing as how would you bet Arias to hit a home run? I would bet it as very thin. Don't bet this to make a lot of money. But if you're telling me you're going to give me plus 236, I'll put an eighth of a unit down because I think the EV is there. Like, that's great odds. And JJ is absolutely, from watching the games, he is a big 3-2 count guy. So you're going to see him either strike out or get a walk as a very likely result of his at-bats, more than you're going to see him putting balls into play right now. Do we like Libby to give up 2.5 runs against this team? We do. Last game, 0. Colorado, not in Colorado. Is anybody else deemed an elite matchup? JJ Weatherholt, who's ice cold right now. Kyle Karros to maybe get a single. Not even plus EV odds. I am going to not bet it because I trust our software, and I'm going to stick with our software. But I think we're off on that one. And our software loves the over. It's literally one of our highest sim probs of these over-unders. It is our highest sim prob. So I have to admit I'm confused on this one. I am a little confused on this one. If this was the game in Colorado, 1,000%. In St. Louis, and again, here's where this is probably where I'm analyzing this wrong, is Libby and Kyle Freeland's last games are not what you should use for sample size, right? And so I'm probably over sample sizing that they both looked very strong the last game they pitched. And I watched both of those games, bits and pieces of it. So that's probably where I've got some recency bias clouding my mind. So my smart move is just avoid it. That's where the software sometimes pays you in ways more than you realize. You're using the Edgeboard to talk you out of bets just as much as you're trying to talk you into bets. So just like it helped talk me, like, why are you over betting Jesus Sanchez, Matt? Why? What are you doing right now? Like, stop. Right? All right. The next game we're also going to kind of take a very, very brief glimpse at. This is Cleveland at the Chicago White Sox. This is a much cooler game. It's a mid ballpark. I wouldn't say it's great or bad. It's just mid. There's one stat I'm just curious on, and I don't think I'll end up liking it. I have to think that it's been overbet. But let's look at elite matchups for our props. And let's look at who pops up. And who pops up is Gavin Williams. I already kind of, again, I don't look at this shit ahead of time. Look how long we're doing this. I think this is a couple of good pitchers. Anthony Kay's probably more hittable than Gavin Williams. So if you were to bet something here, I'd say putting money on Cleveland, maybe. Colson Montgomery to strike out 2.5 times. Our model is like, yeah, we actually think that this could happen. Colson Montgomery to strike out twice. This is fucking wild. Colson Montgomery is struggling so bad against especially this type of matchup that we're giving that the most likely outcome. Come on, do you even put him in the lineup if that's the case here? I wish, I'm making the stream go so long that I'm hoping some of these more lineups start popping up. I'd love to see this lineup. I mean, do you really put Colson Montgomery out there if it's a 70% chance that the result is going to be he's going to strike out? What is actually happening here? Oh, the lineup is out. Colson Montgomery is batting 4th. Interesting. I mean, I'm never betting any 2 strikeouts at -151. But for the fact that it's like, yeah, 3 strikeouts actually could possibly happen here. That's all right. That's wow. I'm not really interested in a lefty-lefty matchup of Chase DeLauter against Anthony Kay, who I consider to be a good pitcher. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misanalyzing this. Chase DeLauter's hit lefties 354. He hits Anthony Kay's fastball 325, and we consider Anthony Kay traffic prone. Interesting. It's really too small of a sample size to say anything there. Chase DeLauter, that lineup's not announced, so that's interesting. Do we consider any of it crazy EV? No. Drew Romo is batting 9th. So could that be a 2 strikeout play? The whole point here is there's only one play I really wanted to look at. I wanted to see where the line had moved. We're already kind of late in the day. So 7.5 strikeouts at -138. We give plus money. Now, how is Chicago White Sox as a K team? I mean, average discipline 31.3. So I'm not loving that. I'm curious. Shy White Sox K's last 5 games. It's not a good defense as a whole. I mean, not a good offense, but I don't think they're a huge strikeout. Last 5 games, they've struck out 9.2 Ks per game. Give me total each game. Why am I so big on this? Gavin Williams has great stuff to begin with. Gavin Williams' strikeout rate. Strikeouts. Oh, this is interesting. All right. 10, 12, 11, 11, 11. I already knew this before I came in. 10, 12, 11, 11. Then doesn't do it against, of all things, Chicago White Sox. And then only got 8 against the Chicago White Sox. Chicago White Sox versus Cleveland, 8, 13, 14, 8, 9. I feel like they've trended for the worse of late. is the point there. I would not consider this a perfect matchup, but I will consider the fact that Gavin Williams seems to be on what I would consider some serious shit right now. And it's minus 138 on FanDuel. And I think I'm going to combine that because I think I'm out of boost. And I think I'm going to combine that with what I think I want to do. And that is I want to go back to team matchups. And I want to go to money line. And I want to look at Cleveland to win this game. Chicago White Sox are given a 41.2%. So I hate that. This is one thing I wish our site will fix. I don't know why we go with when I have the spread like I do, because I'm showing this to be a much tighter game. So I just got to go to all odds. I got to clear this out. I don't know why we do this, to be honest. This is one thing I'd love to see us fix. There we go. Cleveland money line at Chicago, 59.1%, giving us plus EV at minus 135. I mean, I think the play is that we think that, and I wonder why I wanted to look at this. First of all, I didn't know it was this good that we're giving this maybe our top EV money line edge out there. Yeah, no. This one pissed me off so last night that I'm going to tell you guys right now that Matt's play of the Detroit parlay after getting 11 hits but losing my parlay last night, the Detroit is off. You're on my ban list for a night because, again, you're at this weird fucking ballpark and it's a night game. San Francisco at night game. My new play is it's not my new. If you've got to know me, my play is avoid and avoid often. So we're going to head down here to Cleveland. So it's not one of the top EV plays, but if you go to a 59%, I mean, yeah. So I think our play here, it supports where I was kind of heading with this, is we're going to go with a little combo platter here. We're going to, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to expand this. So what we wanted to look at was, why do we like the money line? And this is interesting. They consider Gavin Williams and Anthony Kay equal starters, Chicago with a better bullpen, and Chicago with a better offense. What? At Chicago. What you talking about, Willis? All right. I'm highly confused. The lineup's not announced on Cleveland's side yet. Angel Martinez went crazy the other day. They added Joe Adell, which to me was one of the worst trade line pickups you could have possibly made. If you literally wanted to say, how can we make our lineup worse? You add Joe Adell. Yeah, this lineup doesn't hit for shit. And I actually think Anthony Kay's serviceable. All right, so I was going to parlay this. I'm going to avoid it now. My play was going to be to go with the Gavin Williams worst. I was going to ladder Gavin Williams. And let me be clear, I still am. but I'm not in love with minus 138, which, by the way, has already moved for the worse since I last played it. So we're not going to play this for near as much. What we're going to do is go with basically a third unit play to support a quarter unit play. So a third unit play on the 7.5 strikeouts, followed by the plus money play on the 8.5 strikeouts. Just going back to the fact that we knew that Gavin Williams himself was a strong prop, which we give positive EV even at minus 138, and we give negative EV, but that's at plus 115, and I'm getting this at plus 138. So it literally went from minus 138 to plus 138 is the spread for that extra strikeout. And we're going to move on. We're going to move on from that game. I will tell you the Lauder spot is interesting. I do think that Cleveland wins this game. I think I'm making a mistake there. And I think that if you're telling me, in fact, I'm going to go back on this. I'm going to make one other nudge play here. DeLauder against Anthony Kay looks like it is a great matchup. Hits him well overall. I'm not going to worry about the 2 at-bats. I think everything I'm seeing here tells me that Chase is in good form. So I do think we bet the Chase DeLauder because we know he's going to be batting in the top 3 of the lineup. So he's not leaving the game. So if you're telling me I'm getting minus 108 on an HRR for Chase DeLauder, sure. I'll play ball on that. I'll play ball on that. This was not a bet I was planning to make, but for him to cause some traffic, for him to score a run, for him to get an RBI, I think it's all very playable. And so for that one, we're just going to nudge us another little 1/3 unit to add to the mix. That's a decent play there. So we do have some action that's gone live since then. Interesting enough, I went with Chris Sale strikeouts, and in the first inning, he got 0 strikeouts. Yowzas. Matt Olson and Michael Harris probably both batted in the first inning, and probably neither one of them did anything, is my guess. Or it went 1, 2, 3, and we simply missed the action there. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. Yeah. Olson struck out, which we saw he had very bad history against Cam Schlittler, and Harris did not do anything. He just literally, as we speak, he just grounded out. So not a good start on that. This could be a low scoring game, 7.5 over, very low over under. That parlay is a free money. That was the, what do you call it? You get, Jesus. It's the free bet from the Otani miss bet. So whatever you want to call it. Bonus bet. All right. 7.5, Baltimore, Texas, Kyle Bradish versus DeGrom. I am going to only look at, this is where things are going to move pretty quickly from here, folks. I think that you're going to see us really focus on very few offensive props from here. What are our elite props? Guys striking out to Jacob DeGrom. Griffin Jacks to strike out Seattle batters. And Carlos Narvaez to strike out twice against Jacob DeGrom. Checking to see if this lineup has been released yet. Having a hard time even finding this stupid lineup. There it is. Baltimore's not released their lineup. Texas has released theirs. I think Bradish is a decent pitcher. I mean, I think I'm going to very much lean towards, oh, that's why I've got this confused. The fuck am I doing? Baltimore versus Texas, right? I might have misclicked is I think what happened there. All right, that's what had me confused. So Jacob deGrom to strike out Baltimore batters. We don't think it's minus 188 is too juiced. He hasn't been doing it lately. We move on. They haven't announced the Baltimore lineup. I don't even know where Carlos Nevares would bat. I was interested in possibly looking at deGrom or Bradish. I think I like deGrom more over Bradish as a whole to do something. I mean, deGrom's latest form doesn't look all that great. It's kind of interesting that he was that thin on strikeouts. So we're not showing his over innings because it's so juiced. So it's probably nothing I'm interested in. Yeah, he's kind of fallen off. 4 last starts, he hasn't gone to 6 innings. Does he go 6 innings this game? Probably. Mixed signals. All right. We move on. Don't like the game. Don't like the park. Definitely don't like Baltimore of late. San Diego, at San Diego, cool ballpark, cool temperatures, left to right. Don't like the park. I like Houston this game. Last time I said I liked Houston, they pissed me off. They burnt me. Let's go to team matchups. Let's see what we think. You've got their pitcher Lambert, I think is a decent guy. Mike King batting for pitching for San Diego, I think has been fair. I probably avoid this game. I hadn't seen it pop up on our money line. So what do we actually think is going to happen here? I mean, I was going to say that I lean towards Houston to handle business against this team. We like San Diego to win 50.8% of the time. We think that's very negative EV. We think it's a 50-50 matchup. Why give juice on that? I would say that I lean towards the Houston bats probably doing better. I think this just tells me to avoid it for even more reasons. Angels at Arizona. Yoshina for Dodgers has been kind of mid of late. Brandon Pfaadt has actually been pretty damn good of late. Neither team, if you check their last games of runs scored, have both been in a bit of a funk for the most part. The over-under is 8.5. I would say that I would lead the under, and we do not like it. We say the under is only 48.6 at minus 110, and therefore avoid. It's just an avoid, even Steven, well-placed line. I am not interested in any batter props this game. I think that the ballpark is not great. I think we avoid. I can tell you that I am avoiding Detroit at San Francisco with an over-under of 8. I think San Francisco is running one of their better pitchers and Landon Ropp, and I think Detroit is in a bad ballpark, and therefore I'm going to avoid it. So the last game over under Tampa Bay at Seattle faces two good pitchers again. The over under of this game is literally 7. Since we're in the totals market, by the way, Texas and Baltimore under, we're strong on the under. So yeah, like there's no more offense to discuss. I think I'm screwing up one game. I skipped one game. I skipped an important game. God damn it. All right, well, look, I'm glad I caught it just now. Tampa Bay at Seattle. Under 7, 48.6% of the time. What a ridiculous 7. And the only time I ever told you I saw 6.5 was when there was 25 mile per hour winds blowing in from the lake. This is an avoid game, except for pitcher stats again. To me, that's it, period. It's an avoid game. I do want to look at the pitcher props of that game. George Kirby, Griffin Jacks. I probably could have just did a search of each pitcher. That would have been smarter. Elite matchups this game. Guys to strike out against Griffin Jacks. Griffin Jacks, 5.5 strikeouts is minus 104. 6.5 is plus 190. Right-handed pitcher with a 9.8 K rate, 35.2% chase rate. Eight strikeouts, 10 strikeouts, 5 and 6, 3 against Seattle. What in the fuck happened when you pitched against Seattle? Why so low? What happened there? Seattle bottom 10 offense, bottom 5% average, one of the worst offenses in the league, chases incredibly often. What happened that game? What happened that game? That's odd. He hasn't struck out a ton of people, which is odd that we're saying that. I wonder. All right, let's just look at Griffin Jack's stats as a whole. So he must not be pitching that deep into games very often. All right. Here I am boomering again on the keyboard. Oh my God. Yeah, he doesn't pitch a ton. Mariners game, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, only 3 Ks. 5 innings pitched Red Sox got rocked. 6 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Game before that, Yankees, 5 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 3 earned runs. Blue Jays, 6 innings pitched with only 5 Ks. Not a great ratio. Only 1 earned run. 5.2 against the Rangers, 10 Ks. Love it. 5 innings pitched, only 1 earned run, 8 Ks against the White Sox. Love it. I think there's a play here, and I think the play is simply Seattle strike out more versus right-hand pitcher or left-hand pitcher. I think if I'm correct, Seattle, yeah. Seattle struggles they strike out more against righties too. I think this is a bet. I think this is a play. I think you ladder these two 5.5 and 6.5, similar to how I discussed those other ones. So we're going to go ahead and Mr. Jacks, Griffin Jacks, that is. We're getting at 5.5 strikeouts, even money on BetMGM. I love that. Better than minus 104. It's close, of course, but just the fact you called it even money just made me a very happy boy. And we're going to go with our third of a unit play, similar to like we did there, to help protect the next play, which is the little more risky next K ladder up. And we're going to go, and this is crazy, for one more strikeout at 6.5. For one more strikeout, it jumps to plus 210. Love it. We're going to go our quarter unit on that. Now I skipped a game, and it's kind of an important game. Cubs and Royals. Chicago has a pitcher that's not great. Kansas City has Seth Lugo. The interesting part about these pitchers were as I had wadded up my notes as I got done. I don't know why I overlooked this one. I looked over this one a while ago. Stupid me. Stupid me. Lugo has been touched up for a lot of traffic, but has given up 0 home runs in his last 3. It's 89 degrees. The wind's mainly right to left. Kansas City's been an interesting ballpark. Some people think this is a good ballpark for home runs. I have not seen it, but I also think because a lot of shit is that Kansas City themselves are just not impressive. Clay Holmes is the pitcher for the Cubs. The story on Clay Holmes is that he has been hurt. And then so he got traded and he's an unknown. They're like, what are we going to see out of this guy as an unknown? So what I would say is when you know it's an unknown, what do we know? We know that Kansas City's offense sucks, in my opinion. So what are we going to do here? We're really going to look at elite matchups only. And we're going to see what do we like against this Seth Lugo matchup, who has, there was a period of time everyone's like, oh, God, yes, Seth Lugo, load up against him. But he's a righty. So what do we already know? We know the Cubs got some pretty good lefties to think about. We like Seiya Suzuki. Who's our elite matchup? So right off the bat, Seiya Suzuki against him. Not great righty, but does hit his pitches well. We consider him to be an average pitcher to hittable pitcher. Not a great history. I don't love the park today. I mean, I think that that's a decent play. It's good plus money. We're giving him 63%. Seiya Suzuki's been very hot. So I should say all else fails, like, yes, give me Seiya Suzuki. Pete Crow Armstrong, 280 against lefties. 324 against his main pitch. Doesn't hit the four-seamer as well. I mean, everything's here is green, right? A lot of green, but also not crazy history against Lugo. And my guess will be is that his home run is like highly nuked by Vegas. Lugo to give up earned runs, sure, but not positive EV. Like, why bet it at minus 157? To get hit, sure. This is an elite matchup. We think we're going to hit him. Do we love it? No. Michael Busch to hit bases against him. Michael Busch just to me has been meh. Like, he'll have a good game, but in general, like, I think this graphic tells you everything you need to know about Mike Busch. Everything's mid. It's all yellow. Right? The green is that once you get past Lugo, you have a shitty pen. And he does hit with power sometimes, but interesting, like people like try to say this park is a good park. It's batting, it's number 27 to 29 for left-handed home runs. So I don't think I'm interested in betting home runs. Like, I just don't think I am here. But will Pete Crow Armstrong hit a home run today? Maybe. Maybe. Lineup's still not announced, but I think we know enough about this lineup that we can probably go ahead and move forward. I guess I skipped another game too. I don't know what I did on that sheet, but I guess I skipped the Twins. I skipped a few games. There's a lot of games today. We spent a ton of time on Philly, and then that made me skip over after that. I skipped over the Mets at Pittsburgh and Cincinnati at Washington. So I don't know what I'm thinking here today. Yeah, this entire sheet in front of me. Holy shit. My apologies. And I've streamed way too long, so we're not going to do much more streaming here today, folks. We got to wrap it up. I forget where it shows my time on here, but this has been more than enough. And yeah, we're at 2.5 hours. So that's a shame. I think Cincinnati absolutely takes it to Washington today. There wasn't a much I wanted to tell you about the Minnesota at Milwaukee game, elite only. New York Mets at Pittsburgh. It's cooler. The wind's right to left. It's some do say left center, but it is cooler. There's rain around there. And there is some potential to hit against Bubba Chandler lately, but the Mets offense is also in shambles. Let's go ahead and we'll look at the Mets game after this. The only batter I'm interested in, which has been this hot Lindor batter for them. So, I mean, look, this game I think kind of says it all, right? Who's two guys you want to bet on in general that are probably delivering the goods? Suzuki and Crow Armstrong are delivering the goods. I don't think there's anything about Lugo that scares me. I'm not all that interested, although he is hitting better of late, of going the Michael Busch route. I think that I'm okay on that. We'll look at all three again, though. I just want to see what we think these bets look like right now. I don't think I'm all that interested in trying to get power plays out of this. I think I just want to see. We do call this a 9.5 run game. I do think there's runs to be scored. So the thing is, everyone loves Pete Crow Armstrong at this point. So it's hard to say that you're getting crazy value with this guy on anything. I'm going to look at what's been live here. Back to our Atlanta game. He does have 2 strikeouts, so he's averaging a strikeout an inning. The Yankees have scored a run, so that's not ideal. And Harris and Olsen haven't batted again. So that one's not shaping up so hot so far. Not so hot. Pete Crow Armstrong. Total bases. Yeah, minus 125 total bases to me sucks. I would have bet this bigger. I think it's highly likely to happen. He's hot. Lugo is not going to do anything to me that's that creative against Pete Crow Armstrong to keep him from doing damage. The hits, runs, RBIs are nuked beyond belief. Minus 175 for 1.5, and I'm not going above it. I mean, it barely meets minus 199 on DraftKings. That the only thing I might like about it is it's taking full advantage of a boost that if I think I still have one available, I do. That by boosting it that much, you know, you go the 1.5 route on here, you think about the amount of traffic that's going to happen. Like, this is where you look to use boost. You know, he's hitting this so often. That I think I'm cool using my boost there. So we're going to go 1.5 HRR only because I'm boosting that play. And I do like that boost. I think that's a good use of it. To go from minus 199 to minus 150 on 1.5 HRR is a huge difference. Is he going to score a run? Probably. Do I like it at minus 155? Jesus Christ. Nuke the shit out of it, would you, Vegas? Gotta pass. I've already bet him high enough with the HRR play as the run play. I don't like a leadoff guy for RBIs. I just don't, ever. I just think it's, you know, it's 50% of the time. I think the play here is the 1.5 bases, the HRR, if you can use a boost, some kind of combo, make him a piece of a parlay. If you do think that he can hit a home run in the park, more power to you. It's just not giving good enough odds in that park, in my opinion. Some other people have different opinions of the park and what it can do. I am going to hold off. Let's go ahead and head to Suzuki. And see if we can get any EV off of this guy. This is giving him positive EV on minus 158 on an HR, which is going to end up being worse odds than I even got on Crow. I like him to get the RBI batting second or third. We predict him to bat second. I don't like as much. I think batting second, this site has him batting fifth. That's fucking crazy. He's not doing that. They do like Michael Busch, and they think that we move Michael Busch up in the lineup because he's such a good fit against this pitcher. So maybe we should also look at that. I think because of not knowing where we're going to put him in the lineup, I think the play is just to go with the HRR here. We like that as a positive EV play, and I think that's important to keep in mind. I don't think I have any more boost left, so we're not looking to make a ton on this. I basically put a half unit on it, which, again, a half unit on a minus 150 is not normally something I'm cool with. But so be it. So let's look at this last one. It is lefty-righty, right? That's why we think this is happening. That Busch faces Lugo well. He has been in better form of late. I just don't think he hits for great average, if I recall right. Busch is batting 244 on the year versus Suzuki 274, Crow Armstrong 287, right? That's where I think we've seen it time and time again that those two guys are kind of, the Chicago offense has been crazy hot, and it's led by those two studs. So Michael Busch to get an HRR today, Michael Busch to get bases today. I think they're both in play. We're not showing either as a positive EV play. So I'm going to pass. We're going to just pass. I mean, I'm sure that the HRR is accurate, because HRR is almost always accurate. If I was going to pick anything, it would be that again, because I think he's going to be towards the top of the lineup. He does get great home run odds, and he could hit a home run today. But yeah, minus 150 is the best odds on there. So pass. Hard pass. We're moving on. These other games at this point, I'm sorry that I didn't give you a better in-depth detail to this. I think that Chase Burns, we're just going to look at some final matchups. Moving CJ Abrams to lead off because James Wood is hurt is just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I mean, it's just going to have pitchers pitching around CJ Abrams all day long. And while Dale and Lyle has picked it up for Washington, what's actually happening there, I don't get. Washington is not necessarily a team I would have focused on in strikeouts in the past, but because of what's going on, I mean, there's a positive EV play. We think that he's only 44% chance to get 6.5 strikeouts against them. I think that it's hard to say, because we're saying what Washington, we're not, the site has not fully adjusted to what Washington is versus what they were. I think there is a play here. Cincinnati to beat Washington, 57.4%. Positive EV, minus 130. I think that the Chase Burns strikeouts combination is in play here. I am going to make a little play on this. So FanDuel looks like the best combo of odds. Minus 130 to beat Washington. Chase Burns to get 5.5 strikeouts. Combine those together, we're at plus 140. That's my next play. That's the storyline. Chase Burns owns Washington and gets some strikeouts in the meantime. While he's doing it, the Washington weather, it's cooler than typical. The wind is it's very light. There's some rain in the area. So Andrew Alvarez has been functional. I think it's a pass. So the last play I wanted to look at is the Mets at Pittsburgh. The Mets have been pretty abysmal on offense, but they're showing some signs of some things going on. The part about this that was interesting to me is Lindor has been pretty darn hot of late. Ewing has kind of heated up of late. I was just curious if we thought any of these props would stand out. for this game. So we'll just look at both sides just to see real quick and call today. So not so good. Let's just look this up. Bubba Chandler has kind of fallen off of late. Couple lefties leading off against him. Lindor being a switch hitter. Jared Young. I mean, look. As a whole, Ewing on the year 269. Lindor was batting 232. Jared Young 253. Probably a pass on all of this, but Lindor's been crazy hot of late, so I was just curious. Just kind of curious. Pass. Lindor has been so hot. Has he remained hot? Striking out a ton. Okay, he's cooled back off some. So still hotter. Pass. All right, we're just passing. Folks, that is it. That is our plays, our deep dive, our full-blown scoop of the day. To look at today's lineup, we're going to give a more abridged view tomorrow, as tomorrow I'm going to be doing a couple other things, but I wanted to give you one big solid day to just again show us using our tools, how we look at it, what we're looking for. So big stream there. I really appreciate you joining. I wish you the best out there on the betting street.